So yesterday it was announced the job retention scheme. So this is what we know as of the 21st of March. There's still a lot of details, I think, to be released, but hopefully this is helpful. So yesterday the Chancellor announced that the government would fund 80% of the salaries of workers who are furloughed, up to a maximum of £2,500 a month. So furloughed effectively means that it's workers who you have no work for. They are idle. So they are the workers most at risk of being laid off. The government will fund 80% of their normal salary, and that will apply from the 1st of March. So any salaries that you've paid since the 1st of March to workers who you've had no work for, in theory, are covered by this scheme. This is a much needed announcement. I think it's one of the biggest things to help the majority of our clients get through this time. However, there is something more difficult in this, and I don't think it will save all businesses, because he also announced that at the moment they're working as hard as possible to get this rolled out, but they don't think they'll be able to roll it out until the end of April. So that means businesses are still required to make that decision to pay the cash out to employees between now and the end of April, in the hope that they can claim it back. In reality, this probably means that it's really important to get hold of one of the coronavirus interruption loans to tide you over as you try and pay salaries rather than laying people off. And then once you reach the end of April and the grants start to come in, then you can use that money to pay off the interruption loan, or make choices at that point. We're not sure exactly of the terms yet as to whether it means that employers are expected to pay 100% of the salary and the government fund 80%, or whether it's a case of the employee takes an 80% reduction in their salary. We're having discussions about that at the moment, and we'll confirm as quick as we can on that. The other things to note are that you have to designate an employee as furloughed. So designated as saying this employee has no work, they are no longer productive in our workforce. So that would put a restriction on who you can put onto the scheme and get the money for. And also, there are concerns that this will be rife for fraud. And there are systems in place, I should think, in the revenue which would try and combat that. So when payrolls are submitted each month or week, there's an RTI submission, so the revenue know exactly what everyone's being paid, and they'll probably use that data to work out if someone's cheating the system or not. So my advice is be ethical and be sensible about applying it, because once this is all over, I'm sure the government will need to claw back as much money as possible, and anyone seen abusing the system will probably be in the front line of that. What else is there? So there's an emphasis on getting the interruption loans whilst we wait for the grants to come through. There is also anyone who's earning above 30, maybe 37,000 a year, they're going to still need to rein in their spending, because they will not be supported up to the level that they're used to for earnings. However, hopefully this does go some way to stop too much pain. What this is guiding towards is that we think the government are encouraging businesses to hibernate. They don't want contracts to end. They don't want employment contracts to end. They want everything to just go slow, have a hiatus and pause whilst we wait for this to blow over, which sounds like a terrible phrase, but wait for this to blow over and then to restart the economy again. And if you've already got your employees and your contracts still intact, and it's just a case of contacting everyone saying, right, come back in, we need that work done now, that's going to be a lot easier than re-tendering for contracts or going through the recruitment process to re-employ people. So I think that's generally what they're aiming for, and I really hope that this new scheme will help with that. But as I say, I think there's going to be a bit of a timing issue with getting the money in, and there's going to be some more difficult conversations to be had shortly.